Hello, I'm Paul Mooney, and this is Tony Fagan.
Hello.
And we are the co-founders of Ovation. We're making this video specifically today as an application for ReThink. What you're going to be seeing in these next 10 or 15 minutes or so are some photographs of the dialogues that we've been running really all over the world in the last 15 years. Just to show you what a dialogue looks and feels like in those different environments. We're going to speak for about 5 or 6 minutes each about why we've come to the program, what we'd like to do with it, where we're coming from, what we're passionate about. And so we hope you'll give us 10 minutes to hear what we're saying about where Ovation has come from and where it's going to. Do you want to open up yourself, or do you want me to?
Sure. Hello, my name is Tony Fagan. I've been involved in the homeless services for a little over 20 years. And what got me involved in the services was my own time on the other side of the fence, living with addiction. I was probably 30 years or so in addiction, maybe a little longer, but it lessens and increases in intensity over time. So I don't like to call it all one time period. It was happening intermittently in that period. But what I noticed mostly was the services that were on offer, the services that were provided to me, none of them addressed my core issues, the reason I was the way I was. Whether that was through a lack of insight or a lack of resources, it doesn't really matter. The point is, it's not there. And as I began to walk in the services to see, could I use my own experience of being on the other side of the fence, I found the restrictions were really handicapping any effort you made to make a real difference in the lives of the person. It was about KPIs, key performance index. It was about registering them with DCC, getting them on a app, getting them a medical card, all external things, maybe getting them into counselling, although the waiting list for that could extend over 2 years. And it was all external to the person. Everything that was offered was external to the person. And I don't think I've ever seen in over 20 years working in the services where somebody came in and was asked, what can we do for you?
Wow.
It was always, here are the rules. There's no drinking in this room. There's no smoking there. You must be in bed by 11. You must do this. You must link in with your key worker. And the incoherence in the person was never addressed. It was basically conform or else go back on the free phone and find yourself another bed in another hostel. And when, of my own volition, I deliberately went on to nighttime work to give myself the time to sit with people. And when I actually sat with them over a cup of coffee, informally, but letting them know that wherever they are, I've been there. There was nobody judging them. The response was immediate, and it was massive. And they really wanted to know how they could improve themselves. They didn't want to be alone again in a bedsit. They were there already, and that's led to their problems. They wanted to sit and discuss things that were really mattered at a very, very deep level, at an existential level. And that's my main attraction to the dialogical process, is getting the individual first, or providing a facility where the individual can themselves prepare to extend the individual coherence outward.
Can I just say, facility doesn't mean a building?
Yeah.
Could be a forest.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. The space I'm talking about.
Space,
The spiritual space. Regardless of what building it's in.
Exactly.
Where they can see through their own incoherence.
Exactly. And
then extend that out into the family, into the workplace, and into civilization in general. And
when you're saying extending it, you mean the coherence, when they convert their incoherence to coherence, it's sharing that.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
And the dialogical process tends to become self-evident to them after a time, because they realize that what they're doing is an extension of what they've done to themselves. It's turning incoherence into coherence. And the response was dumbfounding. It was amazing. And it led us to believe that with the right approach, there's a lot of people suffering in Ireland now and living with addiction. And with the right approach, that could at least be alleviated, if not removed. And it could be stabilized at least so the person can function properly in the world. And if necessary, then take further steps. But we believe that the services provided at the moment are being provided by people who do not know or have not experienced what the service user has experienced.
So they're emotionally removed from it. It's professionalized.
Yes, and this is the biggest stumbling block.
Yeah.
And this is what we're trying to overcome in the first instance. Is to provide that new approach where somebody can sit in front of you and pour out whatever's troubled them at the deepest level.
Yeah.
And we'll sit with them on that to create a or to facilitate them creating a coherence within themselves.
Yeah. And then following on from that is that we train those people how to do what we've done with them, so it becomes sustainable.
Yeah.
So where each one of us will take on 2 apprentices during a process. Each apprentice, when they feel ready to start holding space, they take on 2 apprentices each.
Yeah.
And so you can see how that can grow over time. That within a couple of years, if we start with 8, we're going to end up with 1,000.
Yeah.
And they're just going to be dialogues being run in coffee shops, in forests, in farms, in GAA clubs. That's the intention for Ovation.
Yeah, the spiritual space will be more important than the physical space that we provide.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So I've known Tony for 40 years. I met him when I was 16 years of age, and we've both navigated our lives from being on the side of being a service user. I myself have been in St. John of God's, and coming out of there, seeing my own recovery process as a template from which I could grow something for myself. And then because of my skills to be able to create a systemic approach to that and create a modality, and would you believe, create a technology that can actually meet these younger people who are coming through, because if we don't catch these people on their mobile phones now, we'll never get them. So for me, it's about honoring our Celtic past. I mean, the Druids, the Ovates and the Bards have been doing this for 10,000 years, long before 431, when Palladius came with a different message. We did it before the Normans, we did it before the Vikings, we did it before the English, we did it before and after the famine. And here we are as an Irish civilization coming into our maturity. When we're 100 years old now, and we're coming into our maturity, and my hope is that we can take this Celtic past, this dialogue present, and this what we call a quantum future, which is a technology thing, and really help the Irish civilization to renaissance. And that means providing support and providing training and providing credible reflection capacity for every single member of the Irish diaspora, and that's 80 million people. But where will we start? We're going to start in Ennis, we're going to start in Limerick, we're going to start in Athlone, we're going to start in Thurles, and we're going to start in Clonmel by gathering 50 people together for 3 months to start this process. So we'll have 8 of us who will take 50 people through a 3-day process, each of them. We will share with them multiple modalities: body, food, water, breath, yoga, fire, dance, natural remedies, all of that, in the hope that of those 50 social entrepreneurs, they will feel safe enough to start on a journey themselves of becoming a collective that will create other collectives. And that's the 6-month process, which we're not applying for in this funding, but which we feel pretty confident that we'll be able to get funded once we have the data and the evidence from it. So Ovation, it's a bit like a healing hedge school. Yeah, it's a bit like a communiversity where everybody's learning together and taking that learning, gathering our indigenous wisdom, sharing it among ourselves, living, eating, working together, like you can see here in this. I've been doing this for about 15 years or so, not here, but I came back, met COVID. So now we put some of the stuff online, which works quite nicely. So it's about recreating these living, breathing communities in the Midwest first, and then expanding those out into other regions. We're proud to be working with Technological University Shannon, who are going to help us to validate and quality assure the curriculum to make sure people can be trained at level 6 and be certified, and to be able to demonstrate their skills and their practices. So it's both a written and an oral tradition. So anything else from you?
No, just to point out again that the Celtic Toigo was a classic example of wealth without the maturity and the wisdom to handle it properly. That economic prosperity alone is not enough. We need to focus on the individual. A collective is made up of a group of individuals.
So coming back to what Tony says, if we can help the individual find coherence within themselves, it'll expand into the circle. If you have 10 people in that circle and there's coherence there, each of those will help to shape that coherence in their family, in their school, in their work. And then once they train in the methodology, it just becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy towards prosperity. That's, I think, what we're talking about. So thanks for the time, for the 10 minutes here. All the detail is in the application. We wanted to give you a little bit about the personal story about Ovation, where it's going, and we look forward to working with you if you so choose to help us do that.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, bye-bye.